Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are talking about your smartphone because your smartphone may be the next big biomedical device in your life, but it also could be the next big data privacy threat to your biodata. Now here's what's going on. This is coming from a really interesting article from Study Finds, and here's what's up. You may soon now be able to screen yourself for neurological diseases like dementia or ADHD using nothing but your smartphone, and all you have to do is take a selfie of your eyes. Now, researchers at the University of California, San Diego are developing a new app that uses eye recordings to assess cognitive health. Now, this app uses both a near-infrared camera that's built into most smartphones and a, quote, regular selfie camera to track basically pupil size dilations. Those pupil measurements can help to assess a person's cognitive condition, according to the authors of this study and those that are developing this. Now, the pupils obviously offer insight into cognitive functioning. For example, when somebody thinks hard about, let's say, a tough mental task or hears an unexpected loud sound, your pupils tend to expand. It's just human nature. So the app keeps close track of these changes in pupil diameter through a pupil response test. Researchers believe that this eye selfie test can then quickly screen for and even monitor any number of neurological diseases and disorders, like I mentioned, dementia, ADHD, etc., etc. And so if you're asking, how does this brain disease app work? It's pretty simple. Let me explain this to you according to the article. Now, normally, a test like this requires specialized and expensive equipment, obviously making it hard to do these things outside of a laboratory environment. So, engineers at the Digital Health Lab at UC San Diego basically, we're working together with researchers at the UC San Diego Center for Mental Health Technology to develop an affordable and easier way to administer the test. Now, as I mentioned, it basically takes pictures using an infrared camera and your selfie camera to basically start tracking these things as it gives you a series of responses to look at, and that's essentially how it's going to be baked in, presumably using things like artificial intelligence and all of that. Now, obviously, this is a ways off and it's still in development, but they are hoping it's going to be a gold standard. Now, here's the thing. I think this is really cool, but here's the thing. Our mobile phones are typically data mining nightmares, you know? I mean, when you think about it, our cameras are so accurate now that they can pick up things like fingerprints. They can also pick up reflections and eyeballs. I actually did a video on that and actually talked about that on former Governor Jussie Ventura's TV show a couple of years ago, where basically a Japanese pop star took a selfie of herself, and the selfie was so unbelievably good that her stalker, or one of her stalkers, I guess, was able to expand it, see the reflection of her eyeball at the train station she was, and basically calculate that plus the time of day and all those kinds of things to understand that she lived in the area. And that's just from a reflection in her eyeball from a highly, really good sensitive camera. So understand how good these cameras are. Now imagine having your unique retina and eyeball photos uploaded to Google or another third party where they can keep that image and basically start building something like a biometrics database on you. You've obviously logged in with your Google account or whatever, data mining app you've got, and now they've got a copy of it. Why not? Or maybe their artificial intelligence can also interpret possible brain diseases on you, quantify that, and sell that stuff to insurance providers. If you think that stuff doesn't basically happen, all you have to do is look at New York State. I've talked about this before, where Facebook was essentially allowing, per New York State law, life insurance companies to basically look at you. So you go to your life insurance company and say, I need a life insurance policy, and I live a pretty sedentary life. I don't do anything really risky. And your Facebook page is you jumping out of planes left and right all day. Now, they can look at that, basically data mine you and say, no, we're not giving you life insurance. That's what we're talking about here. Only now you've got something 100% unique to you, which is your retina. So that's a huge problem. Now, on top of this, we've got another issue, because how would this then fit into the new Patch Act here in the United States, which basically is supposed to ensure security and privacy for biomedical devices? I literally was just talking about this the other week with a major health system as I was presenting to them, and this is essentially a very big issue. The Patch Act is designed to really harden and upgrade these biomedical devices that are using things like Bluetooth that allow essentially these things to be compromised. The pacemaker was compromised through Bluetooth, could literally explode your heart. insulin pumps were found to be insecure, all of that. But now, if your phone is acting as a biomedical device, obviously that's a huge problem. And wouldn't our phones qualify for that now because we're using it as a biomedical device? So then how is a Google or an Apple going to ensure our total privacy when we have data mining apps on our phones that want permissions to the same picture gallery that you're going to store your images? Meaning Facebook wants permissions to get into your gallery so they can take your pictures as you upload them, access your photos, all those kinds of things. And now you've got all of these retina things in there that they potentially have access to, not to mention Google Cloud, iCloud, et cetera, whatever you use. These are things that we are talking about. And so if our phone is basically a biomedical device, now do they have to ensure the security, or do we have to start stripping off apps in order to ensure our own privacy? These are things that I think we really have to discuss and understand, as the phone is an integral part of our existence. They go everywhere with us. They give us everything from directions to information to communications and everything else, but we are also being data mined, and that which is our most sensitive, meaning our unique biometrics, if they're storing those too, or basically tacking those on as well, in ways that you really didn't consider, here we are. That's why I'm bringing this up. I think it's incredibly important. Now you can say, okay, we can use a fingerprint or Face ID or whatever to unlock our phones. And yes, I understand that. We are aware of that. But we don't think about these things when it's a third-party app and we're taking pictures of our eyeballs thinking, oh my God, do I have dementia? Let's check that out. But we should be considering these things. Conversely, this really should put pressure on the Googles and the Apples of the world to actually start conforming to better device security, more specifically our privacy as well, which is what I'm hammering home. So I think, honestly, this is a really awesome potential here, for health considerations, obviously, because why wouldn't I want to know if I've got early onset dementia? But also, this is a huge potential for serious violations of our privacy, not obviously, like I said, with the app itself, but with the ecosystem that the app shares with the data miners in our world. And so I think this is something that we have to understand. I think that it's a shared responsibility between these app makers, which again, I think is really cool technology, and the platforms we use in our lives. But this really underscores how much of no privacy we have, how little privacy we have on our phones. And now we're going to be adding even more sensitive information that could potentially be data mined. So food for thought. That is your news of the day. I thought that was interesting, and I hope you did too. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, where you're being data mined and hopefully not your eyeballs. Same with YouTube, where you can subscribe to me, and please do. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please stay private. Thanks, everyone.